G'day Malcolm, how you doing? Oh, not too bad mate, not too bad, same old story. What have you been up to? Oh, yeah, what have I been up to? Well mate, when you live on the land mate, you're sort of hemmed in by the change of the seasons mate. And you got certain jobs you got to do day in, day out, you got to feed them animals, you got to do things, and then there's the seasonal things you got to do, so it's the same old story, mate. Just farming, you know. I'll tell you what, mate. I had some excitement the other day, mate. I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you. I bought one of them drones. You know, them drone things you sort of fly, you know? You know them things? Yeah. Bought one of them. Now, one of my neighbours, he bought one, and he was using it to fly around and look at the crops, you know, and check his fence lines and things. I thought, yeah, you know, might be an idea, not very expensive, and might be a bit of fun, even if it doesn't have any use, mate, you know. So yeah, I bought one of them, you know, had to learn how to fly it, mate, you know. I'm sort of trying to fly it, mate, and I'm crashing it into trees, mate. I mean, crashed it into the ground. But it's a tough little bugger, mate, it didn't hurt it. Not much anyway. You know, so anyway, once I got it mastered, reasonable, you know, thought I'll fly it over the wheat field. You know, I've got a fairly good crop of wheat in at the moment, just about ready to harvest, you know, mate. And so I thought, well, I'll fly over the wheat field, just have a bit of a look, see, mate, you know, bit of a look. Anyway, I'm flying along, you know, and I see what looks like one of them crop circles, mate. You know, those things you see on TV with the palms in England, they have these sort of thing where the wheat's bloody knocked down a bit. And there's this sort of pretty good looking circle, you know, about 6 foot round, I suppose. I'm thinking, geez, what's that? Thinking maybe a cow's got in there and had a bit of a sleep in there or something, but I've seen what cows do to wheat in the past, mate, and they usually make a hell of a mess, and they knock a whole lot of down, you know, when they're walking around and that, and there was sort of no real evidence of that, so I thought, what's this? Mate. Didn't know, so I thought, I'll fly the drone up a bit more and sort of get a bit of a bigger perspective of the place and try and work it out. Anyway, mate, there was half a dozen of these crop circles. You know, all much the same, about 6 foot round, but they weren't sort of geometric like the pommy things where, you know, they're trying to make it look like a spaceship's land, mate. Yeah, the aliens that come down to probe me, mate, you know. Can you imagine that, mate? Anyway, these were just higgledy-piggledy, mate. They were just random all over the paddock, mate, you know. And I'm thinking, geez, I wonder what's doing this, you know. Better go out and have a bit of a look, I thought. But anyway, thought I'd fly down and have a bit of a closer look at each one of them. Anyway, as I'm doing that, I spots there's something in one of them crop circles, you know, pale looking thing, you know. And as I got a bit closer, mate, I realised that was a bare bum that was so pale looking back at me, mate. It was a bare everything, to be honest, mate. He was a courting couple, mate. Having a bit of quality time in my wheat field, mate. Oh, mate, that wasn't what I was expecting to see, I can tell you, mate. Anyway, here's the drone, mate. You know, they hear the drone and they get all frightened and embarrassed, mate. They jump up, you know. They haven't got anything on them, mate. They're in the buff, mate, you know. And they grab all their gear and they're running off through the wheat, mate, you know. I tell you what, mate. Tell you what. Don't fancy running through a wheat field that's ready to harvest in the buff, mate. Mate, that wheat can be pretty prickly stuff, mate. Oh, mate, now they ran off towards the state forest that sort of borders my place, you know. And I flew the drone away. I thought, I don't want to embarrass the poor buggers, mate, you know. Oh, mate, it sort of made my day a bit, though. Did you report them? Now, why would I want to do that, mate, you know? Didn't do that much harm. Probably cost me a couple of bags of wheat from knocking down the sort of crop circle things they did, but in the scheme of things, they didn't really do much harm, and they're only young people having a bit of fun, mate. You know, what's the harm in that, mate, you know? Have you ever noticed, mate, you know, have you ever noticed that old people don't like young people enjoying themselves, mate? It goes right back. Think back, you know, when I was a young bloke, you know, all them years ago, you know. But, you know, I was talking to them, anyway, getting back to these couple, you know, mate. I was talking to one of my neighbours, mate. That's right, I was talking to one of my neighbours. He's got teenage kids, you know. And he tells me that it's all the fashion now for young people to enjoy themselves in the buff, in a wheat field, mate, you know. And in my day, it was the back of a Ford Zephyr, the back seat of a Ford Zephyr at the drive-in, mate. But yeah, apparently these days it's al fresco. And what's wrong with that, mate? That's their thing, it's their time, you know. You know, and like I said, older generations don't like younger generations doing things different, you know. They sort of get upset about it. You look back in the old times, you know, look back at Elvis, mate. Elvis the Pelvis, remember him? Yeah, mate. He sort of shook his hips, mate. Oh, shit, shouldn't have done that, mate. Poor example of Elvis, but at any rate, mate, they wanted to put him in jail for that, mate. You know, can you imagine that? Put him in jail for swiveling his hips, mate. It's just silly, mate, isn't it, you know? And there's so many examples of that, mate. You know, when I was a young bloke, look back again, when I was a young bloke, one of my mates had a Holden, buddy, E.H. Holden. Hotted up E.H. Holden it was, mate, you know, not a bad thing, mate. And anyway, he put on 195, 70, 13 tyres, mate, on a 6-inch rim, you know. Now, his old man, he went ballistic, mate. He went off his brain, mate. Yeah, what are you doing putting them wide tyres on that car? It's dangerous, mate. Oh. And even the rule makers were going, oh, you can't do that, it's wrong, it's blah, 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 blah. And of course, you look at the cars today. Are you going to find a car with a skinny tyre on it now? Those E.H. Holdens, mate, they come out with a tyre about that wide. A conventional tyre, not a radial. How much grip do they have? Bugger all is what they had, you know. And here they are going on about putting a few wider tyres on, which aren't wide in today's terms. So, yeah, there's more and more examples of that. Hey, look at. I was standing in the main street the other day, you know, and I'm chatting to one of my neighbours just about farming, and this young bloke went down the road, mate, in one of them, I don't know, one of them Godzilla Nissan things, mate, you know, turbocharged thing. And you give it a bit of a rev, mate, and it went boom, boom. You know that noise that turbocharges cars, mate, that noise. And this neighbour of mine, he went ballistic, mate. Oh, look at that, that should be banned, not allowed. Why, mate? What's it hurt? A bit of a boom noise, you know. And then I let him grab it on for quite a while. Then I sort of said to him, mate, you know, you got one of them new John Deere tractors, you know? He says, yeah, mate. He praised up the tractor, saying how great it was, you know. And I said, yeah, it's a turbo diesel, isn't it? He says, oh yeah, got some power, mate, got some power. And I said, well, when you give it a rev, does it go bloop? And he sort of went a bit red-faced, mate. He went, oh, he mumbled off and then he wandered away, mate, you know. Because, you know, what's it matter? What's it matter, mate, you know? And another example, even another one, mate, just another one, just the last one I'll give you, mate, yeah. Now, that old man of me mates, he was a banana farmer, and he had a picture on his wall of the farm, you know, the bananas, and the house, and it was taken by the guy that done the crop dusting. And bit of a sideline, he took photos of the people's properties and then sold the picture. And everybody loved these. Everyone had them around the district, had pictures on the wall of their farm. Everyone loved them, mate, you know. But now, you know, I don't know, 40 years later, if some bloke goes flying over with one of these drones, my goodness, all hell breaks loose. Oh, you invaded me privacy, mate. And why does that change, mate? You know, that amuses me, how things change over time. Yeah, you got to laugh at it, mate. You got to laugh at it. Yeah, well, anyway, mate, I better be on my way and let you get on with your filming, and I'll probably see you around. Bye.